Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Mic Check Podcast. This is T Word, the People's Champ. I'm here with my co-host Q. Today, we're going to be talking about a little bit of boxing. We got another prediction for you. This is going to be the Showtime card that's going to be on June 24th, obviously today. So we got some nice people on this card, some people that you may be familiar with. So we're going to talk about that today. But before we get into the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And please, please, please share it with your friends. Tell them, go ahead and subscribe to my boys, man. They dropping that hot shit. And we're almost there. The road to 500 is closing in. So please support this channel. Continue to show us some love. Before we get into it, Q, what you got to say to the people?
Yeah, man, I think this is going to be a strong card. I think that this is something that's going to be interesting. Maybe not from a name recognition standpoint, but if you are familiar with the PBC stable, if you're familiar with, a lot of these guys having previously fought on PBC main events, this is going to be a solid card. I think they got pretty much three guys that have all been in main event fights previously. While they're not, pay-per-view stars or PBC's biggest stars, this is going to be a good card. I like this card, and I definitely want to give PBC their credit for putting this one together. This is definitely for the boxing fan, not for the casual fan, but this one is for the boxing fan.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. There's going to be a prelim card at 6:30 Eastern on YouTube. So if you're interested in seeing guys like Caleb Truax, Jerwin Nakajas, Kel Spencer, you'll be able to check those out on YouTube. However, the main card is going to be on Showtime, and this one should start around 9 p.m. Central Time. So be sure to tune in. It's a 3-fight card. You've got Fernando Martinez and Jay Burnea. This is for the IBF Junior Bantamweight title. So this is 115 pounds. Martinez is the champion. So we will see somebody trying to hold on to their belt and defend. So that should be a good festive scrap. And then you have Erickson Lubin returning to the ring versus Luis Arias. This is a 10-round junior middleweight. So and then the main event is going to be Carlos Adames and Julian Williams, aka J-Rock. So I wanted to start by talking about Erickson Lubin and his return. The last time we saw him was against Sebastian Fundora, and it was a very scrappy performance from him. I thought Erickson Lubin showed people what made him so highly touted before his loss to Jamel Charlo. You saw that he had skill, he had the ability to box, punch, and do all that stuff, even being the first man, I believe, to drop Fundora. So you saw some things in him that let you know that he's a pretty decent fighter. Obviously, he came out on the losing end of that fight, and he got lumped up pretty bad. But this is his opportunity to try and kind of reset his career. I've seen him in the media doing some interviews, and he sounds pretty excited about boxing. So I think that that's going to be good for him, and this is a good starting point. What do you think about this particular matchup?
Yeah, I think that this is a matchup that's going to show if Erickson is what everybody thought that he was previous to the Jermell Charlo loss. Now, obviously, he took that fight, when he was in his early 20s, and that was about 5 or 6 years ago now, I believe, that he lost to Jermell. That was back in 2017. So, he's been on a good run of fights since then. He beat Terrell Gachet, he beat Nathan Gallimore, he beat Jason Rosario, and then he got in there with the biggest guy at 104 pounds. With Sebastian Fundora, and it did not go his way. I think that that was this could be a one-off. That loss could be a one-off where you get beat up pretty bad, or this fight could show us that fight has changed him as a fighter. It's been 14 months since that loss. This is his first fight since that loss, and this is not going to be an easy fight. I mean, he's fighting a tough guy in Luis Arias, who he beat Jared Hurd. He's also had some decent wins outside of those. So it's going to be interesting to see how well he does in this fight. But he should win. He's the more skilled guy. He's going to be the better mover in this fight. And he's not going to be fighting against somebody that has a significant size advantage like Fundora did against him. So I'm expecting that Erickson should win this fight and maybe even get a stoppage at the tail end of this fight.
Yeah, if anything, if there's a stoppage, I'm picking Lubin late. But I do think that it's going to be a good bounce back performance for him. I expect him to at least look good no matter what. He's going to look like the guy that we expected. So interested to see how that goes. Definitely going to be tuned in early enough to see him along with the Fernando Martinez title defense. Now the main event, Carlos Adames and Julian Williams, and I'm pretty excited about this one. This is for the interim middleweight title that Adames has, and you've got a couple names that people are familiar with. Adamas, somebody that's coming up that if you're kept up with boxing, you know who he is. And Williams, somebody that from yesteryear to some degree, that you're going to be familiar with. How do you think this fight plays out?
I think that it'll be interesting to see how well Julian Williams can take the power of Carlos Adames. Carlos Adames is an explosive athlete. He's a guy that's really strong in combination. And he's a guy that's in and out, an ambush fighter is what I like to call those kind of guys. He has a kind of a similar style almost to like a Manny Pacquiao, where it's in and out, it's quick combinations and then back out, typically because he's slightly smaller than the guys that he's fighting at middleweight. But his power and his athleticism allows him to fight against some of these guys that are a little bit taller, a little bit rangier than him, just because of his quickness. So I think it'll be interesting to see how Julian Williams deals with that kind of a style and deals with that kind of power. Julian Williams' best performance, obviously, was when he won the titles off of Jarrett Hurd at 154, when Jarrett Hurd was still a unified champion. But Jarrett Hurd is a guy that sits right in front of you. Jarrett Hurd is a guy that leans on you, uses his size on you. That's the complete opposite of who Carlos Adames is. So it's going to be up to Julian Williams to find Carlos Adames, because I don't think he's going to be there sitting still to be hit or to fight in a phone booth. I have concerns about Julian Williams, his punch resistance,
durability.
That loss to Jason Rosario. And he's moving up in weight. And even at 154, he wasn't really a puncher. So obviously fighting a weight class above that against an explosive guy, that may not be a recipe that he's really looking for. But hey, listen, he has to fight this guy if he wants to move into the top echelon of 160. This may actually effectively become the WBC world title, fight.
Yeah.
Because Jamal is rumored to be fighting Canelo. If he fights Canelo at 168, there may be the stipulation that he has to let go of his 160 title. Or even if he fights at 168, he may never come back down to 160.
Right.
And the title may go vacant.
They'll just take it and vacate.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. So we'll definitely see how this plays out. So this does have big time implications. So even if you're not too familiar with the names, the situation may be of interest to you if you care about the champions and where the belts are, because this could become your next WBC middleweight champion. So be on the lookout for this one. I'm predicting Adames by late stoppage, though. I just think that power is going to eventually catch up with J-Rock, and then it's going to be a wrap. So, guys, let us know what you think in the comments. How do you think this fight is going to play out? Do you have a favorite on this card? Somebody you're interested in seeing? Let us know. Start the conversation. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is Big T. That's Q. This is the Mic Check Podcast. Until the next time, we're out. Peace.